Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Christine Hull, and I'm the founder of the MAWB, the Mississauga and Area Women in Business. And today we have the absolute pleasure of having Trish Beasley on with us today to teach us all about her magnificence, the things that she does behind the camera. Trish is uber talented photographer. I think you do many different genres in photography. You do headshots, you do newborn. I mean, I've seen a whole cross section coming from Trish and seeing your portfolio. In addition to that, Trish owns a brand new studio up in Barrie, her new living, her new home. And in addition to that, Trish teaches at a couple of different colleges, actually, some photography classes and some workshops. Trish, we're excited to have you today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Trish was also going to be one of our not vendors, pardon me. She was going to be one of our facilitators at our MAWB retreat, which we didn't get to have this year. And she was going to be showcasing this workshop for us there. And I'm really looking forward to hearing and learning from you today, Trish, as are all of the wonderful women that are on. And Trish, I'd like to turn it over to you now. If you want to do another little, let us know a little bit more about what you do, who you serve, how you help folks, that would be great. And then you can jump right into your presentation. Does that sound okay, Trish?
That's perfect, Christine. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Like Christine had mentioned, I am a photographer and I do shoot all genres. Also, I like to really consider myself when I say that I'm a visual storyteller, because I'm not just telling stories. I'm not just taking your pictures and telling your stories, but I'm also a graphic designer. So I do flyers, I do brochures, I do all that kind of stuff, logo creation, and so on and so forth. So I'm really here to help you create your content so that you can get it out online with ease without any problems. I kind of refer to myself as a one-stop shop when it comes to that. As Christine mentioned, I do everything from headshots, branding sessions, we do product photography here in the studio. We teach as well workshops in person as well as online. And we do newborns and family sessions and so on and so forth. So I'm really eclectic with as far as my business goes and being able to service my customers. Morella, as some of you know, Morella, she's amazing. She was actually here yesterday for her session with me, and she came in and she's like, "What is all this?" I had a couple of bags and so on and so forth. And I said, "Well, I do hair and makeup too." And she's like, "What?" She said, "You need to make sure that everybody knows that." So because of Morella, I'm letting you all know, I also provide do hair and makeup. I've been trained through Sheridan College to do hair and makeup on my clients. So if you're coming in for a headshot, you don't need to worry about having your hair done, having the makeup done. You come here and it's all done. But what we're going to focus on, and this is a really weird segue, but what we're going to focus on today is product photography. Not everyone starting out can afford a photographer. It can get pretty expensive depending on what you're looking for. I will say this before we go any further, that nothing will ever I lost the word. As far as professional photography, when you're doing your own shot, there's nothing better than using a professional photographer. We just have the equipment, the lighting, the training, and so on and so forth to make your images come to life and make your ideal come to life. So I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. But for everybody starting out, or people who just want to kind of jump in, or maybe you're just interested in and you want to learn how to do it for yourself because it interests you. And that's a great thing. So today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about some of the things you would need for small product photography or small product. We're going to talk about some of the things you're going to need for larger projects or larger items. And I believe it was Rita who had mentioned in the thread about photographing spaces or rooms. So we'll touch base on that. There is 3 sections that we're going to, which is the equipment section and software. We're going to talk about the do-it-yourself Lightbox, which is something similar to this little guy over here. And then we're going to kind of shoot some photos. Now, I am not video savvy yet, but at some point I will be. But we'll take a couple of photos in the light boxes that you see here. And then I'm going to edit them and then put them up. And I'm only going to use my iPhone, which is my old iPhone, by the way. And I will edit them in the phone, and then I will put them up in the MAWB group so that you can see some of the things that you can do. If you have a DSLR, that's fantastic. The concepts are really all the same when it comes to photographing images, as far as how you edit, how you shoot, and so on and so forth. But what is different is the quality of the image. So we won't get too technical with the DSLR just because that's a whole nother realm. That's a whole nother workshop and several workshops at that. But we will kind of touch base on some of the things you need for that. So the first thing we're going to talk about as far as the equipment that you need, if you are shooting small products or large products, at the end of the day, at the very beginning, you obviously need your camera or your iPhone. Okay. You're also going to need, if you're doing smaller products or medium size, a light box. And you'll need some kind of backdrop. The whole idea behind shooting in a light box or shooting on a nice clean backdrop is that there's no clutter. So the one mistake I see people do when they're taking their own photos is that they forget about the surroundings and what's going on in the background. And I'll, just as an example, when you take a photo of yourself or your family, and the first thing you look at are the things you don't like. That's usually what, at least I know I do. So you take that, you take that photo, you look, oh, look, that was there. Oh, this was in the background. Oh, I didn't know that that balloon was there. Or, oh, somebody left a cup on the counter. And it's very distracting to the eye. So we want to make sure that when we are photographing our products, that there is nothing that isn't supposed to be in the photo. So when we talk about a light box, it does two things. One, it allows in light. This is also very important when it comes to creating your photos. Happy pixels or bright pixels are happy pixels is what I always say. And the more light you have, the better it is. So things that you definitely need, you can use are, obviously I have a little bit bigger equipment because I do this, but something really easy to purchase. Right here is a ring light. Everybody, I'm assuming that everybody knows what those are, but really it's a fantastic and inexpensive piece of equipment if you are going to photograph, or if you're just going to do videos of yourself. You know, if you are your product, motivational speaker, health and wellness coach, and you want to talk to your clientele, just turning the light, as you can see, my face is being lit up, but if I turn, my whole face is being lit up, and it's a really nice glowy look. And bright pixels are happy pixels. Now, you can have extra light or too much light on your face that blows out. When I say blow out, what it means, it really brightens up your face, and it just does not look flattering at all. So you want to make sure that when you're using a light that you have a nice distance between you and the light. Other things that you can get or use, and I'm just going to get up for a second, guys, and show you. The dollar store has these. Now, they are not the best pieces of equipment or the best lighting to use, but in a pinch, you could use them. Christmas lights, anything that really lights up, and I don't know if you can really see them, but these are the glow lights. I know Costco had some of these. I think there was like 6 on a wire or 6 in the box for like $13 at Christmas last year, and I actually bought them. I use these during my sessions with kids doing cake smashes. I believe I posted a picture of a cake smash in the thread yesterday, and you saw some twinkly lights in behind. So that was these things. That was these little pieces of equipment. So that's definitely one thing that you want to use that will help. Will it give you a ton of light? No. Will it assist? Yes. So my suggestion to you is that if you are planning on using a smaller product, so you're going to use a smaller box, then my suggestion would be to use a ring light, use a lamp. A couple of lamps from around your house are great. I would take off, so mine's a soft box here, and this one here I can actually take off the cover so I can have full light. So you would just take off the lampshade and you can use them. The other option you can use, which doesn't require lamp, is actually shooting with the sun. So go near a window during the daytime when it's nice and bright, and there's tons of sun out right now, so this is a great time to shoot, and then you'll get lots of natural light. My whole studio is completely white, and I'll be honest, most of the time I don't need to use my lights. Yeah, I can shoot naturally in here with no flash because it's just so white and bright in here. So, and at some other point, I can give a tour maybe of the studio. I think I've done it on my Facebook page. I know when we were in the process of renovating. So if you want to head over there, you can always take a look and see. But yeah, the idea is that you're going to have lots of light to go in your box, and you're going to make sure whether it's natural light, so from the window, or if it's a light box here, that you can do. Now these light boxes you can also get, by the way, on Amazon. I feel like I'm doing a commercial, but you can. If you want to you don't want to make your own, you don't want to do any of that, you can buy them at Amazon, and they range in price. You can go to Henry's as well. Again, they range in price. So it depends on the size you want, and you know, all the little trinkets that come with it. I know the ones on Amazon can range anywhere from $45 up to $200 or $300. But they usually include the light strips that go inside. If you are thinking about buying one, then I would suggest that feel free to give me a call, send me the link, and let me look at it just before you go, because I'd rather you not have buyer's remorse if you purchase it. So feel free to do that. But this one I got from Amazon, and I just want to give you an idea of what it includes. So you have the box. Now mine was just a plain one, and here you can see there's different colored backdrops, and these ones all here go. Oops, I just got one. Go inside the box. So I haven't set one up yet, but they basically go inside the box, and they create any backdrop look that you want. And I have one here in black, and I'm just going to toss this over here. I have white, red, and this one here, which I'm going to just bend for, is in navy blue. So you have different color choices, but you're also, I'm klutzy today, but you're not limited to just these colors, okay? So you can create your own drops or your own backdrops using various cardboard, or you can purchase other backdrops that would go into it, so you have different colors. So you can see, I don't know if you guys can see yet, I have pink Bristol board here. I have some whites as well. We're going to use that for something else. But as you can see, I also have a couple of items set up here in the box. So I'm going to show you, I just threw them in there, but I'm going to show you how to set it up with one of the backdrops so that you can see what the look would be like, and then I'll take photos from there. Now, once you've taken a photo, and I'm just going to come back and around, some of the equipment you want to look at, or one of the things you want to look at, is the editing on your phone. So you have to, there's lots of photo editors out there, guys, tons of them. I personally will use either the one on the camera that's inside the camera, or I use Lightroom. Both of them will give you options to increase your exposure, to decrease. You can have filters. You can do all kinds of different colorings in them and make them really, really cool, really interesting, and really neat. I do suggest, though, when it comes to your product photographies or your product, that you keep them clean, light, and bright. When you want your customers to look at your product, they don't care what filter is on it. They want to be able to see every detail of the image. and of the product, especially if they're buying online, which a lot of people are doing right now. They don't want to be disappointed when they get the product because they couldn't see how the clasp, if you're selling jewelry, how does the clasp do up, you know, or what true color is the beads, what are the true colors of the beads that you're using. If a bead is teal and it turns out green or blue and it's not the true color, some people might be a little discouraged by that, and that's the one thing that you don't want. So keeping your photos nice and clear, don't adjust any filters, just make sure it's nice and bright and clear, and a nice clean image as well. When I talk about clean images, what I mean is that if you're using a backdrop that has any kind of spots or anything like that on it, you want to try and clear those up. You can do this, I believe, in Lightroom, but your best option always is to look at your backdrop first. And for anyone who's shot with me or seen me shoot, the first thing I do is I go through, and before I even take a photo, I look for little things that I know are going to take me time to take out or fix. There are certain things that you can fix and there's certain things that you cannot. And my suggestions to you is take the 1 or 2 seconds or 2 minutes to make sure that your backdrop is nice and clean and clear. There's like a little piece of paper here I just noticed from a sticker, and I'm actually just peeling it off with my hand because I know that that's going to be a pain later on to take out, and it just took me like 10 seconds, not even to pull it off. So Lightroom or within your phone is always a great option to use. And guys, if you have any questions, Christine will be reading them out for me because I can't see them on the phone from where it is.
There is one question so far, Trish, and this is something you can do afterwards. One of the participants is looking for the link for the actual light ring that you have there. So maybe you can share that later when the session is over.
I can. I'll have to go back into my Amazon and then I'll grab the link from there and then I can share that in the group as well. That's not a problem. So we've kind of covered that, but before we kind of get it more into the software, which because I'm not doing a visual online with you with the software, it's one of those things you'll have to experience for yourself, but I will take some photos along as I'm editing photos once we've taken some, and I'll show you the different options on there later on. But in the meantime, we've been talking about Lightboxes quite a bit. So I wanted to show you something. If you don't want to invest in one of these, which, you know, or maybe your product's bigger and the size, maybe they don't have the right size, or maybe you just, you know, you're not sure this is a thing for you that you want to do, you don't have to buy a Lightbox. You can actually create your own. And I will have the instructions for these as well later on. I'll post the instructions on how to make this. I decided to make it last night just to save us all some time, but I'll give you kind of a step-by-step. What you're going to need, we're going to create our own Lightbox, and the way to do that, and this is for people who just, you know, you're either crafty or you don't want to invest in one of these guys. You can, if you're crafty, it's really easy. A couple of things you can do. You can use Foamcore. So as you can see here, this was actually a larger piece of Foamcore from the dollar store. I think it was like $1.25. Now, all the products that I bought, or all the items that I bought to create the Lightbox, was from the dollar store, and it was like about $13. I kid you not, to make it. It was very easy. I even bought some things that I knew I had, but I wasn't, you know, prepared to go search for. So some things you'll need. I purchased 3 pieces of Foamcore. I do suggest white. They didn't have any white at the dollar store when I went. So I purchased the black. And you can too. It really doesn't matter. To be honest with you guys, you can use a box. And if we had been at the retreat, I had said to Christine, everyone will need to bring a box. So that was what the plan was originally. But yeah, you can use a box or you can use Foamcore. I chose to use Foamcore, and all I did was cut it to the size that I thought I would use, or you know, smaller items for smaller items. If I want a larger softbox, then I would get a larger box, right? It's all going to depend on the type of items you sell and what you want to shoot within the box. The second thing I did was cut it to the size that I needed to. And I wasn't really, as far as dimensions, I wasn't really particular with it. It was really just what I needed. So basically all I did was cut them in half. And when I did that afterwards, I then measured out 2 inches, a 2-inch radius all the way around, right? And cut that out. And this is just an extra piece. So you can do something with this. You can use it as a backdrop. If you have a better cut, I don't cut Foamcore very well. This is why I have my framers. I do custom framing, so I never cut out mats. I make them do it because I'm really bad at it. But if you are really good at cutting a nice solid piece, you can use this later to mount your photos. If that's something that you want to do, put it inside a frame if you cut it to the correct size. I'm just going to put this on the ground for now. So what I did, and that's another half. So this is what the full piece looked like. You can see, and then I cut the hole. Okay, put that there. So, and I'm going to put this one here because we're actually moving on to the next section here. So when I create the Lightbox, I'm just going to move some things around. What I did essentially, and this is going to start looking interesting, is I took 4 pieces. Now you can use 5 if you wanted to. I actually prefer a Lightbox with no top. And the reason for that is because when I go to shoot, I can shoot from the front or I can shoot dead on straight from the top, which gives me more options in different photos. So for me, I only created 4 pieces here. So what I did is essentially what would happen with this is I took the 2 flat pieces and I used gray tape for you guys. I used duct tape only so that you could see what was happening. But normally I would say use clear tape. So you see I take the 2, so one's the bottom piece. So if you look at this box here, you have the bottom piece and then you have a top piece. There is an actual black flap that can come up here and block the light if you only want light from the sides, okay? You can do a hole on this side too if you really wanted to, but I didn't. The next thing I did was more tape on the inside here, and now this comes here. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but you can see it starting to form a box, okay?
Yes,
so
Trish, I just wanted to let you know where you're standing is perfect. We can see everything you're doing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christine. So here's a couple of things you can do. Now, I'm very much one of those people that I don't like clutter. I don't like things in my way. When I have a piece of equipment, it goes back in its bag where it's supposed to go, and it goes back into its place. And if I had 5 or 6 different light boxes, different sizes out and open, there'd be no place for anybody to stand. So the way I taped it was to create a hinge. And so that this way, I can fold it that way, I can fold it that way, and I can fold it up, and it can be put away later. So you don't have to have this out. You don't have to worry about if you have small little people, tiny little hands touching things, that it might break it. So that is a way to do that. And that's why I suggest clear tape as well. You can just fold, and then you don't have to worry about seeing hinges, like any of the hinges or anything like that. It's really a great little way to have it all done and all together. Okay? So, but this box is not finished. So I'm just going to kind of show you how to finish it off. Now you can do this beforehand. I wanted to show you how it was all done so that we would save some time in our workshop. But pretty simple, really, to make it. The next thing you would want to do with this is grab, who loves tissue paper? Is there like a show of hands there, Christine? How many people love tissue paper? It's like your best friend, guys. You know what you can do with tissue paper? You can make pom-poms out of tissue paper. You can make flowers out of tissue paper, and you can make soft boxes out of tissue paper. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, and I'm not quite sure if you can see it, but I'm just taking a couple of pieces of tissue paper, again from the dollar store, and I'm just doing a couple because I want to make sure that it's secure. You don't have to use a couple, you could probably use one really, if you wanted to. And I'm just making sure that it fits around the edges of the box, of the open piece. And the next thing I'm going to do is just take some clear tape, pull it off here, and I'm just going to tape it down. That's all I'm doing here. And it's really just that simple to do. And you're going to make sure that it's obviously secure. I'm doing this pretty quick, so it's relatively quick. I want to make sure that all the edges and sides are taped down well. I'm just going to put on a couple so that we don't take up too much time on this. So. And you want to make sure when you are doing it that they're relatively taut. Right? You don't want it loose either. Come around. Just like this. And one more. Now I have a piece here that's just kind of hanging loose. Probably just tape that down so it doesn't come out. But you can cut these down as well to size. So if they're a little too big, I'm not doing that just to save time. But you can cut them down if you wanted to. And this is it. So I know you can. So if you can see that, and now you can see, I'm just going to move the ring light right behind. And do you see how it's lighting up? So. And you can probably see part of my shirt coming in there, right?
Yes, excellent, Trish. Yes, we can see that. Wow.
So it's a really great, inexpensive way to make your own light box. And I'm not going to finish the other side, but here's the next step. Once you've created the box itself, and I know it's kind of covering me, but once you've created the box, there's a couple of options. If you don't like that it moves, you can just tack it down with a little piece of tape and then take that tape off later. So I'm going to do that right now. And it's just to secure it so it's not shifting all over the place. And I'm also going to do that on the other side as well, just to make sure it's not shifting everywhere. Like that. Round. And that just kind of holds it into place. So now you can see, if I wanted to shoot just on a black backdrop, I have the ability to do that, okay? Now, but you're gonna say to me, but Trish, I can't shoot on a black backdrop. My stuff, you know, is all light, it's for little girls, it's flowers, it's this and that, and, you know, and just black is not gonna work for me. Dollar store. All I did was go in and buy, you get 2 sheets for $1 in the white. So if you wanted to change it up and make it a white backdrop, I'm just going to add tape really quickly. I'm going to stand to show you this. I just lost my tape, guys. So I'm going to simply 2 pieces here. And I'm going to push it back. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to grab my pink one here. There we go. Now, it is a little bit short, so you can get larger pieces of white. What I did was do that and then take the extra pieces and just cut them down. And I made this a little bit too big, but just like that. And now when I go to put my product on, let's see, what do I use a lens here? When I go to put my product on it, I now have a white backdrop. And if you do it so that you cut it perfectly, and I haven't, but if you cut it perfectly, you will not be able to see the seam that is in here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But you'll see that the whole thing is covered. The same option is if you say, hey Trish, I don't need white, I need pink, or whatever color it is that you happen to want to use. Pink right now. Go. I'm going to add that extra piece of pink that I have. Slip it underneath. And this will allow you to get a little bit of foreground. When I say foreground, what I mean is the area in front and the area in back. Can everyone see that? Doing okay? And that's simply it. So now if I want to shoot the lens, now normally I would have this lights coming in at a direction of 245s so that my product is lit from both sides. I would also have an additional light on top so that my product is lit from the top. This way the whole item is lit. But if I do that, then we're shifting everything here. So you want to remember when you're shooting your item, which we will get to, 245s is always best as far as using your light. You can use the ring light directly on your item facing forward as well if you needed to, okay? It's all just a matter of making sure it's lit. But as you can see, just moving the light in, and I'm just going to increase. Now this particular ring light, as you can see, just got a lot brighter. And in this particular ring light, I can turn off the gold or the warm tones and make it very blue or fluorescent. But I can also turn on the incandescent and make it warmer if I needed to. So as you can see, there is quite the difference in the light as soon as I did that on the product. Okay? All right. Any questions so far, Christine?
There are no questions in the chat box. Lots of wows and cools and ahs and oohs.
Oh, good. Amazing, amazing. So this is how to create your own light box, which, as you can see, really simple, honestly. Here's what I do suggest. Don't cut this on your kitchen table. If you have a cutting mat or somewhere that you can cut, you do need an X-Acto knife to cut it out. Scissors will not work. But if you have a cutting mat, I have one. It makes it easier to cut really down hard to try and get a nice, good line. Like I said, I really am awful at cutting lines. I should have waited for my husband to do this for me. He's really good at cutting straight lines. But as you can see, it works, right? And you don't have to go out and spend a fortune on this. But if you do end up buying one of this, of course, if you look at the ones with the light, you don't actually have to look at putting lamps and all that stuff. It's really self-contained when you go out and purchase a light box from Amazon that actually has the light strips inside. They have some really fancy ones as well that have turntables that you can set. So if you have a product that you want to shoot and it's inside the table, or if you put it on the table, it will turn the product around. For those of you who are looking to do a more, and I'm just going to put this down, but a more 360 view of your product so that your clients can take a look at them all the way around, that's an option as well. And I do believe they sell them separately too. So if you wanted one of those turntables, you could purchase it and use your own light box as well. So that's always an option. So again, with that, it was 3 pieces of Foamcore, an X-Acto knife, a ruler, and some tape, really, and some tissue paper. So like $13, guys. It's like the best investment ever if you're shooting your small products. Okay. And tissue paper, I used like 2 of them, 2 for each side, and it was perfect. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of throw this over here. The next thing we're going to go into is basically how to shoot now. So we've created our, you know what equipment to use, you know what types of things that you need, you know how to create a Lightbox. Now the question is how to shoot. And this is one of those things that when you are shooting product, you want to make sure that your clients, I call them subjects, but your clients can see what you're shooting. They want to know exactly what the clasp looks like. They want to know what if you're shooting jewelry. They want to know, you know, what are the pieces in between the beads? Is there any detailing in between the beads? Are there detailing on each bead that you're using, or what the product happens to be? If you are, maybe you want to do, maybe you're selling or you're with Juice Plus or something like that. And I know that they have all of their own particular photos, but if you want to put your spin on things, setting up the photos are just as important as understanding what the product, what type of equipment you need. So for example, if you are selling, as I mentioned, Juice Plus, and there's all kinds of vitamins and minerals and so on and so forth, and you want to put your spin on that, you can create your backdrop to have fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth, and a tall glass of the juice itself, or the vitamins or so on. If I believe Amber does Abbey Decor, so her backdrop would need to be a little bit bigger. So she could set up with a beautiful backdrop of an outdoor. So I know her garage is amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures of Amber's garage setup. It's amazing. But she can have this, and she has a great look in there, that she can use her signs that she creates and just set up a great backdrop for it. Outdoor, on a wall, that's really where you would expect to see those types of things. So where you would expect to see your product is where you want to shoot your product as well, or as close to it, creating a look or a feel. So as you can see here, I'm just going to shift this light box over. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way here. Good thing I have lots of tables. So I'm going to shift this over just a little bit, and it will come tumbling down. But you can see I kind of played around with this just a little bit, and understanding how. Let me just shift here. I'm not going to set it properly. Now I do custom framing, so and it's kind of hard to see from there. So I'm just going to shift the light around as we do this. I don't know if you guys may or may not see this thing. Oops, there we go. It's a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to pop in here. So you can see I've kind of set this up. So when I go to shoot this with my phone, grab it, sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to be right in front of you guys, but it's hard to show you and shoot at the same time. I'm essentially going to go into my camera. Now, I haven't set up a backdrop or anything. It's not really perfect how I would like to set it up. But I want to make sure here that this is really well lit. As much as I possibly can, so that there's lots of light. So I have a soft box here. Normally I would just take the light directly off. I'm going to come in at a 45 and just shift it. You may or may not see that. I want to make sure I have as much light as possible. Now I have a lot of stuff in here. So to me, this is clutter. right? So I'm going to move some of this out. Now, I have a different frame piece here than what's on the picture. So what I want to do, essentially, if I were to set this properly up, I would actually have the full black backdrop because I want the white frame to pop. And I'm just going to go in. Now, if you have a DSLR and you're shooting product, I do suggest that you put it on a tripod. Right now, my phone's on my tripod, so my other phone's on the tripod, so I can't use it. So what you want to do is when you take the photo, set it up on a tripod, and you want it as straight on as you possibly can. Try to minimize the angles. You're not trying to necessarily be creative. You're trying to show off what the product is. So I'm actually just going to come here, and then I'm going to come down it inside because I want to try and make sure that they see everything. And I might have to shift, so you can turn your phone around a little bit. So, other options, and I'm just going to remove the picture. So I'm using different things from the dollar store, really, just to create a look, okay? It also helps me keep the items up if I wanted to. So if I was going to shoot this, I might change this around. I'm actually just going to grab, sorry guys, I'm going to grab the white backdrop. Here's what I do suggest. If you do purchase one of these, and I didn't bring my iron out, but that they do get wrinkled. So iron these so that they're nice and straight. You don't see any lines. Okay. So I'm just going to throw this in here, just like this. And like that. So as you can see, it's white and it's coming in through the back. Not as much through the sides because my lights aren't directly beside it. Okay. If my lights were directly beside them on either side, then we would get more light. Okay. So if I was just going to shoot this particular book, a Paris book, maybe we're talking about, so this is a world book and that's Paris, so this makes sense to kind of put together. So if I'm talking about traveling or anything like that, and I'm actually just going to bring this light down a little bit more. Bring it closer. I want to make sure it's lit as much as possible. There we go. And like I said, normally I would be right directly in front of the product, so I am going to pop in there a second. And maybe I'm doing something for travel. I'm a travel agent and I want to get some photos done just to kind of post with different media posts. This might be something that you could do. And again, I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to take a couple of straight on photos. If you're using a DSLR camera as opposed to your phone, and I'm just going to grab mine here, you can definitely do a lot more. If you have a DSLR hanging around your home, I do suggest that you start using it for these because you can adjust the light extensively with this. I'm just going to put it here and show you the difference. Now I'm not using flash. And I'm just adjusting. So I will end up editing some of these and then I'll put them up in the group. But you can really do this with any product. I'm just going to shift some stuff out and back. If I were to shoot frames.
Trish?
Yeah?
A couple of people in the group have asked, how would you shoot A, masks, B, jewelry, and C, masks on live models?
Okay, so this is really awesome that you said that because I knew that question was going to come up. And I'm just coming over here to do this. I had pins somewhere. Okay. So, dollar store. It was $4. If you have a mannequin head, even better. So if you saw in the post, I think I posted one, what I would do with the masks is I would pin them in or use something. So I keep this one right here. So the mannequin that you saw in the picture that I had posted actually had really good ears. This one doesn't. Okay, so let me see if I can find something to poke it with. I did have something. So what were the other questions there, Christine?
The questions were, how would you shoot jewelry?
Okay.
And the and masks. That was it. There was 3. The masks, the jewelry, and then masks on live models.
Okay, so masks on live models are really honestly the same thing. You want to get a couple of different angles. So you can see here, I'm just poking these. Oops. Now, if you're using a model that has hair or a mannequin head that has hair, fix the hair, guys. Okay? You don't want to have this beautiful mask that you have made or designed, and then you've got hair flying everywhere. So when I was doing my mask pictures, I'm very, very happy that I learned how to do hair on a mannequin, because the mannequin hair is so coarse, not very easy. So you can see here, I'm just going to come up close. What I've done is I've adjusted it, right? And you can, I've just done this really quickly. You can obviously make it look better. So I've adjusted the mask. Now this is a child's mask, so it doesn't necessarily fit on this face. So you may want to adjust it a little bit more so that it fits better. But all I've done is I've just poked it in. That's it. That's actually a nail. And I just keep it on straight. And when I shoot the mask, I'm going to shoot from front and take that shot, and so we'll do it like that. Get my camera up again. So we're going to shoot from front. And I'm going to turn to the side because they need to see the ear loops. Do you have ear loops? Do you have ties? If you have ties in the back of your mask, you want to show the tie, okay? You would do like that. If you want, you have to show them how it ties. If it ties multiple styles, so there's some people that they're doing masks that you tie in the top and you tie in the bottom. There's some that they're doing a pull string. There's also, I've been making some masks that they have 2 of the elastics, but then it has a bead, and then you just pull in behind your ear. So you have to show how it works like that. But again, if you're using a mannequin that has hair, you want to make sure, wet it down a little bit, put some hairspray in it, and make sure it's solid like a rock. Because the hair will start to move as you start to move the mannequin. But the idea is that you're going to shift and shift to show all the elements. And that's masks if you're doing medical hats, anything like that. You want to make sure that you get all the sides and all the detail of the hat itself or of the mask. If you're shooting a mask on a person, it's the exact same thing. You're not shooting their whole body because your focus is on the mask. So again, you would start just their head, forward, sideways. If your mask also has a pocket for a filter, you may want to set it up and show a filter on the bottom. You can show the filter pocket.
Trish, is it possible for you to move back just slightly? Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
So we can see the head.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So
I know.
If you have a filter pocket, you may want to show the opening here by sticking out a filter. So, and I don't have a piece of, oh, we have tissue. Let me just grab the tissue for a bit. See, tissue can now be used as a filter, at least for this demonstration anyway. Put that over there. But you can put this, and this is where I would not put it on the mannequin, but you could use a round ball. So you know how the dollar store has those styrofoam balls? You could use that and set it up. So if that's the filter, maybe have it come out almost like you would a pocket tissue. You know how gentlemen might wear those pocket tissues in their lapel? You could have it sitting out like that so it could show that there's a filter, but then just put it on a ball, right? And in this instance, make sure that your backdrop is a different color so it really pops out, especially if your filters are white. So you want to make sure that the color is opposite so they can see it. And that's really it, like as far as the masks are concerned. If you are shooting jewelry or smaller items, again, what I would do is I would take things and use them. So as a photographer, I've shot countless weddings, and I can tell you that I've used what's around me at the wedding. So if I am shooting a bridal jewelry, usually what I do is I'll take their shoes, I'll take a bouquet of flowers, and I will set something up. So for example, and I'm just gonna grab something here. A couple of things actually from my array of props that are here. So if I were to, maybe I'm doing a fireman's, I just purchased this little prop, this brand new little one, it's so cute. Maybe I'm doing a fireman's, a wedding with a fireman, maybe an emergency service. Obviously I wouldn't have the tag on it, but I'm gonna pull off a ring. But I could shoot it where maybe I'm just kind of doing that. Really simple and easy. And I'm just gonna do this. And you just kind of set up your jewelry, right? And then you would take pictures. I'm gonna just try to adjust. Now it does take, with jewelry, as you can see, some finagling. So I'm just gonna do the one ring. But again, I would come in and find the best angle in this position and take the shot. And it's kind of hard to show. I don't know if you'll be able to see it here. It's pretty dark right now. Can you guys see that? So it gives you an idea of what the ring would look like. And you can definitely play around with that as well. Flowers are always great to show off jewelry and necklaces. So if you have, you can always stick them right in the middle or off of a leaf or something. Maybe something like that. And you just play around with it. Or better yet, use one of the branches. I actually kind of like it just looking here. This is going to require a little bit more enabling. There you go. So something like this, you guys obviously can't see it. I'll take a picture. And again, I'm going to come in, and the way I take the photo is I want to make sure that I'm getting the detail. The flowers aren't the object. The flower is the background. So I want to make sure that when I'm taking the photo, that I am using what I like the most about the backdrop, but the ring is the most important thing. I'm gonna just place this again, because when I was taking the photo, the orange thing here was in the way, and it was really distracting. So now I'm gonna make it as a part of the backdrop by shifting and coming in more. Something simple like that. Same thing with necklaces that can go on. You can also shoot when you're looking at what else? Bigger bouquets you can use, shoes you can use. If you're looking at doing a 360, you want to make sure that the whole backdrop is white and that you're taking photos of every angle of the ring or the jewelry that you're taking. So that when you go to put it up on your website, you have the main photo and then you have subsequent photos that show the ring all the way around, or the necklace or the clasp. Things that are important. So people really look at the stones, they look at the links on the necklace, and they look at the clasp and the color. So those are the things that you want to capture the most. And am I missing one, Christine?
Sorry,
Hello?
take myself off unmute. Sorry about that. No, I think you answered the questions
Okay.
we had. Another one quickly just came in. It's how do you recommend shooting if you have a reflective surface? Are there any tips that you can share on that, Trish?
So reflective surfaces are they're definitely difficult to shoot on. My suggestion is either use the reflection to your advantage when you're shooting. So if you're shooting a ring on a reflective surface, it's really nice to have that reflection back. Otherwise, use a different type of backdrop or a different type of area to shoot on so that you're not getting that reflection.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll be honest, so when you are shooting with the reflection, you want to go to a pro, because if that's what you either change your space or go to a pro, because if you want the reflection, or if you're shooting glass that is reflective and you don't want to show the reflection in the glass, there's a way to set up your lighting so that you don't get that reflection. And it's a lot more to teach than in what we have.
Right. Thank you. Next question is, many people recommend to shoot in landscape. Any particular reason why?
To be honest, I shoot in both. It will depend on the product that you're shooting. So the rule is that and what rule I go by is if your product or your item is larger or wider, shoot in landscape. If it is small, and when I say small, what I'm talking about is this. If it's like this, where it's height big, shoot in portrait. If it is wide or long, like this, then shoot in landscape, so that it makes it easier for you to crop in, okay? You also want to make sure that when you're photographing and you're editing later, that when you go to crop in, you're cropping directly around your product. You're not leaving a lot of extra space.
Okay, excellent. Next question, or more of a comment, was the eyeglasses. Any thoughts or suggestions on photographic eyeglasses?
This is a big one I get all the time. I have clients that wear glasses. And as a photographer, when I see you come in and you're wearing glasses, and I know that you wear them every day, I will never ask you to take them off, because that's part of who you are. And part of what your clientele sees. So when you're photographing people who have glasses, there's a few little tricks that you can do. If you're using big lights like these, the idea is to come up and high. So when and this could be like any kind of light that's big. So big lamps, anything like that. If you have access to continuous lighting, which is fairly inexpensive, by the way, if you were to do that, my rule of thumb for anyone, and I'm going to just do a visual here, and I'm going to move this out of the way, is I usually say to my clients, I know how tall my clients are roughly compared to me. So when I have a client come in, if I'm using my big lights or any kind of big lighting, I always say go for the 45s. So the first thing you're going to do is put your arms out. So if this is me, I'm the client, 45 from here, 45 from here, and 45 from here. When the light is up and high at those 45s, the light is not going to reflect on the glasses, and it will be easier to take the photo behind their lenses. Also, another trick you can do, so we had Mike and Morella in here yesterday. Mike is super tall and he wears glasses. My ceilings are high, but they're not that high, so I have to be really careful of how I'm shooting him. So I did my 45s that I always do. But what I also asked him to do was bring down his chin, which a rule of thumb when you're photographing people tend to do this because they want that nice elongated neck, but all it does is just, it doesn't look nice. So you want to make sure that they bring their chin down so that it's nice and straight, so they get a nice good jawline. But that will also, if they're wearing glasses, reduce the reflection of the light coming upwards, up and downwards. Okay? And then the third thing you can do, and I'm just going to show you with my sunglasses, is if I put them on, and if they've already tilted their head, you're still getting light, just have them lightly tip. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but just lightly tip their glasses. Not a lot, like you don't want them sitting like that, but just a little bit. And that should also reduce the glare as well. So 3 tips that you can use.
That is awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate those tips. I want to share with you, the question actually came from a lady who is eyewear on the go. So she actually sells glasses. She's a mobile optometrist. So I don't know. I think her questions, I think that what you said
more about shooting on
more about actually shooting glasses.
So if you're shooting glasses, again, you can put them on a mannequin, and the same thing, the same rules would apply. It's the exact same rules, just if you put them on a mannequin or a person, if you're putting them where they're lined up. So for example, I have some frames here, I'm just gonna put them. So if you line them up, it's the same sort of thing, shooting up and down so that the reflection is not on the lens. And another trick is if you can see the reflection of the light in the lens, you're going to get the reflection of the light in the picture.
Okay, perfect. And finally,
Does that help?
She had to leave the room, or she had
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we're a little bit past 11, but I want to ask you this. Yeah, you're doing awesome, Trish. Great comments in the chat. I'll save this for you so you can read the
Fantastic.
People are loving this. Ritu asked about photographing rooms. She is office space, right? So her question is, you know, any tips on or suggestions? Do you do it from the window, away from the window, with the window back to you? What's your suggestion on photographing rooms?
So you want as much light in the room as possible. I've done photos with my phone when I got this initial studio space. I will tell you that phones are okay, but they're not necessarily wide enough for smaller spaces. So you have to take more photos of the image. So what I suggest you do is that you take different angles. It doesn't, because you want to show how much light comes into a room anytime you shoot it anyway. Most people like natural light in their offices. It just makes them feel like they're not in a dungeon. So when I photographed this space the first time with my phone, I started at each corner. So from one angle to that angle to this angle, and so on and so forth. And then I did all 4 sides directly on so that you could see everything. And then if there was key features to the room, so if there is, you know, air conditioning, or if it's self-contained as far as the AC or the furnace unit, you could show things like that. Not necessarily the furnace unit, but the actual, the gadget, the adjuster. Sorry, I've lost the word.
Maybe the thermostat. Yeah, so
that's the one.
Ritu is office rentals.
Yeah.
Actually, Ritu, go ahead and speak, hon.
Yeah, so sometimes ad hoc, if you know, a lot of the live stories, for example, you do when we're just in the process of getting a room set up so we can just show people potentials of their office space. I'll do like a quick live story, or maybe just a couple of pictures saying coming soon. So a lot of those rooms are also interior rooms where I don't have window options, and I always struggle with, you know, what angle is the perfect angle to show a picture of the space in its entirety as well.
So the first thing I would do is shoot from the door to show how big the room is coming in. Make sure that the lights are on within the room itself. So if it doesn't have any natural light, make sure you show how much light it can get. So I would start, you know, the door itself. This is your entryway. When you open up, this is what you're going to see. So click there. And then again, I would just follow the 4 corner the 4-corner rule. So from each corner, each side, and then pick the best one that shows the room. The idea is that you're going to show the room from different angles to show the size, right? Again, with the features, it's really the same thing. It's just that now you have to see the amount of light that you get. You can bump up the light in your editing later on and just bump it up a little bit. I wouldn't overdo it though, because you don't want to say, hey, this room is full of lots of light, and then they come in and there's not enough light in there. Does that help?
Awesome. Yes, thank you.
Okay. But yeah, the trick is to just make sure that they see how much space is there from every angle, right? And then they'll kind of put it together themselves.
Okay. Okay.
Trish, this has been excellent. You did a fantastic job. A few weeks ago, you said, oh, I'm sharing a video. I'm not very good on video. You're excellent on video. Thank you. This has been more hands-on than I anticipated it could be. You really did a great job. Thank you so much. And like I said, there's lots of really great feedback in the chat. I'll send that to you. In case I missed any question, you can read through that and follow up with folks. But yeah, hands down, girl, you did a great job here.
Thank you.
That's it, you guys. It's 11:13. We all have places to go, and we appreciate Trish's time, effort, and energy. Very passionate and knowledgeable woman. Please follow up with her. I'll make sure to get the recording out today before I leave. I'm leaving again out of the city for a few days, so I will try to get that recording up. And anything, Trish, if you wanted me to add anything into that email that I send out as well to the participants who registered, I can do that for you in addition to the link to the recording. That's it. Over and out again. Excellent job. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.